Today we will start to complete our book, the last unit here, unit 10. The title is Discovery. In this unit we will speak about discovery, the meaning of discovery. We can use discovery for noun or verb. It means the action or process of discovering or being discovered. The meaning of discovery as a noun, the action or process of discovering or being discovered. For example, when I say eating always filled us with a sense of adventure and discovery, it has the same meaning of finding, location, unearthing. All of these are the same meaning. Okay, now we will recognize some of discoveries. I want you to listen to the text first and look at the blue words here. At yellow words here, okay, and search the meaning of these words to know their definition. Now listen.
Unit 10, page 85. Read. Exercise 2. Read and listen to the text.
Great journeys. Marco Polo. In 1271, 18-year-old Marco Polo set off from his hometown of Venice with his father and uncle, who were wealthy merchants, to visit China. They went by ship to Anatolia and travelled the rest of the way overland. They followed the Silk Road, along which merchants from China brought silks to Europe. The road runs north of the Himalayas, and the journey took 4 years. The Emperor, Kublai Khan, welcomed them warmly, and Marco became a civil servant and diplomat. After 17 years working for the Emperor, the Polos decided to travel home. At first, the Khan refused to let them go, but in 1292, they received permission and returned home by sea, arriving in 1295. Marco spent the rest of his life as a merchant in Venice. At one time, he was imprisoned, and while in jail, wrote an account of his travels, which inspired other explorers such as Christopher Columbus. Ibn Battuta. As a boy, Ibn Battuta studied the Holy Quran and became an expert in Muslim theology. When he was 21, he set off from Tangier on the pilgrimage to Mecca, and during the next 28 years, he travelled more than 120,000 kilometres, even further than Marco Polo. After visiting Mecca, he joined a caravan of pilgrims which Persia, now Iran. He continued to travel around the Middle East, studying the people and culture, and writing down anything that interested him, and he eventually arrived in Delhi. He stayed there for 8 years, working for the Sultan. In 1342, he was sent by the Sultan as his ambassador to China. Having survived a number of shipwrecks, he reached his destination in 1344. He was impressed by Chinese culture and their use of paper money, but after a year, he decided to return home. Back in Tangier, Ibn Battuta wrote an account of his adventures called Rila. Many of his contemporaries refused to believe the story of his travels, and it was long after his death that he came to be appreciated. Vasco da Gama. In 1497, Vasco da Gama was sent by the King of Portugal to find a sea route to India. With 4 ships and 170 men, he sailed down the Atlantic Ocean, and after surviving a terrible storm, finally reached the Cape of Good Hope, the southern tip of Africa. There he abandoned his largest ship and sailed up the coast of East Africa, stopping at various ports. The Portuguese were surprised to find rich Arab towns with stone houses on the coast. The Sultan of Malindi welcomed him and supplied 2 Arab pilots to guide him to India. Thanks to them, he was able to cross the Indian Ocean to Calicut in southern India. Shortly after that, da Gama departed for home with a rich cargo of spices, but he lost 110 men and 2 ships. He sailed to India again in 1502, and after this voyage he retired. However, at the age of 64, he decided to return to India, but died in Goa shortly after arriving there in 1524.
Okay, I want, if you wanted to listen again, you can repeat the video. Okay, I want you to look at the words here in yellow and search for the meaning in your own dictionary at first. This was the first 10. Inshallah, in the second video will complete this lesson. See you later. Thank you. Bye.